Citibank was fined last year $70 million by a US regulator for not strengthening its compliance around money laundering. What institutional lessons were learned from that fine about Citibank's handling of money laundering?
This was related to a consent order dating 2012, and there was ongoing work being done. I think, and we had remediated by that time many of the issues that were raised by the OCC. I'm not sure what lesson we drew other than the fact that I think it's undeniable that we need to make sure we raise the bar and we continue to make those investments as quickly as we can, providing the resources and the technology to meet the expectations of regulators.
Are you now moving towards providing greater information on the source of funds or purpose of payments in transactions of the kind that have led to the Westpac case?
And as I said, we, as it relates to the incoming transaction of the sort that we use Westpac for, we do it ourselves now. We are clearing those transactions and providing full reporting to AUSTRAC.
So the level of information you're currently providing, had that been in place during the period of these Citibank Westpac transactions, we wouldn't have this scandal.
Well, as I said, if we, whenever Westpac came to us and requested for additional information, we worked towards providing that information.
I took your point that in the past you were responsive to requests for information.
Absolutely.
Now, by the sound of what you're telling me, you're more proactive in providing that information.
Well, now we're complying with the AUSTRAC requirements in terms of filing reporting.
So were you not complying at some previously?
I'm sorry?
Were you not complying previously?
No. Before that, we were using Westpac as the clearing institution for us. So we were not doing it ourselves. This was an offshore entity of Citi giving a clearing bank instruction on payments that need to be operated or effected in Australia. Today, we are doing this, Citi Australia, we're doing this ourselves.
So you no longer use Westpac for this kind of transaction?
No, we don't. And we I think, have stopped using Westpac from memory about more than a year ago.
Why did you cease using Westpac? Did it have to do with concerns around money laundering?
No, it just because we were working with Westpac to provide additional information they wanted. And I think they came to us towards the end of 17, beginning of 18. But by the middle of 2018, they actually told us they no longer wanted to provide that service to us. So we had conversations with AUSTRAC, and we decided to therefore do these clear these transactions ourselves.
So when did you learn about these the money laundering allegations against Westpac? Were you aware of them before the?
No, we were aware as of the public, whatever was publicly available, public information.
You found out through the media, is what you're saying.
Sorry?
You found out through the media, is what you're saying.
The extent, all we knew in our relationship with Westpac is whatever information they were requesting us to provide, we were.
No, I think Dr. Lee's question is about the events of the past 2 weeks where information has been revealed about these 23 million transactions.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just read that through the press. You didn't have any insight.
Absolutely,
knowledge.
we didn't have any insights into that.
So, excuse me, Dr. Lee, just to build on one of your line of questioning, and I'm happy to return, you said before that Westpac used to provide clearinghouse services. They came to you and said they no longer want to provide those, so you took them on board. So what was the reason they decided not to want to continue to provide them to you? Was it a straightforward commercial decision, or was it another reason?
I'm not quite sure as to the reason, but it was indicated to us they no longer wanted to provide the service.
This is a discontinuation of service. It wasn't a...
Yes, and, from there, we had actually conversation, if I remember correctly, conversation with AUSTRAC. We said we were going to do that ourselves. And there was a transition period, very short, and we started to clear those transactions ourselves and provided the AUSTRAC reporting.
And as you provide the AUSTRAC reporting, you immediately then stepped up the level of information that was provided around the source of the funds and purpose of the payments?
No, I believe we had been working towards increasing the level of information that was because we started to work probably around that at the beginning of 2018, but it obviously took some development, technology development. And so I think we were in a position to transition fairly quickly after we had been told that Westpac didn't want to continue that service for us.
And institutionally, do you continue to have any relationships with Westpac? Do you of the kind that gave rise to this the money laundering
No, I don't
problem?
believe so. No.